Okay, in this video, what we're going to do is we're going over the Chapter 3 review guide, and I'm going to walk you through each problem. Okay, starting with number 1. You have this diagram for number 1, and what you want to look at is we're going to solve for x and y, and we have to state which theorem that I used. Well, the first thing I see is that 3x and 45 are a linear pair. That means that there's two angles and they're both next to a straight line. So this is a linear pair. So I'm going to write linear pair because that's my rule that I'm using. And it's 3x plus 45 equals 180 degrees because linear pairs always add up to 180 degrees. A straight line is always 180 degrees. And from here, we're just going to solve for x. So I subtract 45 from one side of the equal sign, and then I subtract 45 subtract 45 from the other side. I'll bring my 3x down, cross this out, and 180 minus 45 is 135. And then I will divide both sides by 3. This will cross out, and I'll get x equals 45. Okay. Next, I'm going to look at what the y will equal. I see that the 45 degrees and the y minus 4 are corresponding angles. So I will use the corresponding angles converse to solve this problem. Corresponding angles are always congruent, so I write 45 equals y minus 4. And to get the y by itself, I'm going to add 4 to both sides of the equation. I'll get 49 equals y. Okay, so this is for number 1. 49 equals y and 45 equals x. Let's move on to question 2. Question 2, we have 3x plus 23 and 4x are corresponding angles. So we're going to use the corresponding angles converse again. And we will set 3x plus 23 equals 4x. Subtract 3x from this side, subtract 3x from this side. And we'll get 23 equals x. Okay, and then once we know that 23 is x, we're able to plug it back into this 4x, so I can actually make this a degrees. So 4 times 23 92. Okay. So 4x is the same thing as 92 degrees. And so we'll say, well, this is actually a linear pair. So y plus 4x equals 180 degrees, which means y plus 92 degrees equals 180 degrees. And then I'm going to subtract 92 from one side of the equation, and I'm going to subtract 92 from the other side of the equation. I will get y equals 88. Okay. Now, this is the rule of, this is a linear pair. Okay, now let's go ahead and look at question 3. Question 3, I see 5x and y plus 12. These are vertical angles, so they're going to be congruent. But because I have the x and the y in there, I'm not going to be able to solve for one variable. This angle right here is also in terms of x. So what I want to do is see if there's any special relationship between these two angles that have the x. And the rule is alternate exterior angles. So it's going to be the alternate exterior angles converse. That's the theorem I'm going to use. So it's 5x equals 3x plus 50, okay? And what you want to do is be able to subtract the 3x across. 2x equals 50, divide by 2, divide by 2, x is equal to 25, okay? And so now that we know that x is equal to 25, we're going to be able to plug that into this equation. This is the rule of alternate exterior angles converse, and this is going to be the rule of vertical angles. Okay, 5x equals y plus 12. I'm going to substitute the 25 in for the x. 5 times 25 is 125. Subtract 12, and I will get 113 equals y. Okay. Okay, when two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, name the angles that are congruent. The angles that are congruent are, corresponding angles, alternate interior angles, alternate exterior angles, and vertical angles. When two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, name the angles that are supplementary. These are same side interior. And you really want to look back to your picture on your notes and make sure that those are on your reference page for the test so that you will be able to be successful with that portion, because you need to know what corresponding angles look like. Okay, find the value of x that makes m parallel to n. Okay, so we want to make m and n parallel. Well, if this little section right here is 90 degrees, then I know that the box right here Okay. Okay, I apologize. So it looks like some of the work has been erased, but it's no big deal. Okay, now moving on to finding the value of x that makes line M parallel to N. We have a box right here that's indicating that this is 90 degrees. If M and N are parallel lines, which is what we're trying to prove, then this would also be a 90-degree angle. Okay, and if this is 90 degrees, then that means that 2x plus 90 is going to be a linear pair. So I'll go ahead and write that out. Linear pair. 2x plus 90 equals 180 degrees. If we subtract 90 from both sides, we'll get 2x equals 90 degrees, and then we'll divide both sides by 2, and we'll get x equals 45 degrees. Okay, here we're going to use the rule of same side interior. Remember, same side interior angles are supplementary. That means they add up to 180 degrees. So 3x plus 47 plus x plus 9 equals 180 degrees. 47 plus 9, we're going to combine like terms. 56. And then 3x plus x is going to equal 4x. And then we're going to subtract 56. $124. We're going to divide both sides by 4. And your answer is x equals 31. Okay. Here we're going to use the rule of alternate exterior angles. Alternate exterior angles are congruent. So that means 2x plus 78 equals 5x. We can subtract 2x from this side. Subtract 2x from this side. We get 78 equals 3x. We divide both sides by 3. $26 equals x. Okay. Now 9 and 10 are a little bit different on the worksheet that I gave you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross out this. And question 9, I said that the y-intercept is 4. And then the equation is y equals 1/2 x minus 8. And this is something that you haven't seen before in class. Normally you have to solve for the y-intercept. But what you need to know, the key thing that you need to know when you're looking at the form y equals mx plus b, is that the m is the slope and the b is the y-intercept, okay? So let's look at the directions that they're telling us. They're asking us to write the equation of the line that passes through. So write the equation of the line that is parallel to the given line and goes through this y-intercept. So parallel, okay? I'm going to write my format out. It's y equals mx plus b. Well, what is the slope going to be of the line that is parallel to the line that they gave me? The slope will be 1/2 because parallel lines always have the exact same slope. And what will the b be? It's going to be 4 because it said that the y-intercept was 4. So pretty simple. This is your answer, okay? Question 10 that I wrote was a little bit different too. I said that, where is that sheet? Okay, I said y-intercept of 8. And y equals 2x plus 16. Okay? So, again, we want to write a parallel line. So, again, it's going to be y equals 2x. The slope of this line is 2. It's a parallel line. Therefore, the slope is going to be 2 also. And my y-intercept is 8. So, the answer is y equals 2x plus 8. Okay, so moving on to 11 and 12. 11 and 12 is pretty much exactly like what you saw on Khan Academy. We're writing an equation of a line that passes through a given point and is, in this case, perpendicular. Okay, so let's look at the line that we want to write. I'm going to write out y equals mx plus b. And I'm going to start with looking at what the slope will be. Well, the slope of the line that they gave me is -2. And anytime there's a whole number, I can put it over 1. And I want to figure out what the negative inverse is going to be. So this is negative. I know that my slope of my perpendicular line is going to be positive, and I'm going to flip the numerator and the denominator, so it's going to be 1/2. So my line is y equals 1/2 x plus b. I still don't know what my b is. I just know that it'll go through these 2 points. When x is 4, y is going to be -2. So I take these 2 points and I plug them back into my equation. -2 equals 1/2 4 plus b. Okay. -2 equals 1 times 4 is 4, 2 times 1 is 2. So I'll have 4 divided by 2, which will end up being 2. And then I'll subtract 2. This is going to be -4 equals b. So my equation is going to be y equals 1/2 x minus 4. Okay, now let's look at question 12. Okay, this one's a little bit trickier. The reason that it's trickier is because we don't have it into y equals mx plus b format. When I'm looking at this, I really don't know off the top of my head what the slope is. So I want to move the x to the other side of the equals. Okay. If I subtract 4x from both sides, I'll get -6y equals -4x plus 18. And then I'll divide by -6 and divide by -6 and divide by -6. And I will get y equals 2/3 x minus 3. Okay. Now this is the slope of the first equation. The equation that I'm going to write, I still have to do all the work on. So all I know is that it has to be perpendicular to this line, okay? This line slope is 2/3. Because this one's positive, my slope is going to be negative. And instead of 2/3, it's going to be 3/2. So I have y equals -3/2 x plus b. Okay, next I have to plug in my x and my y. Okay, so I'm going to say 3 equals -3/2. Okay, 3 equals -6 divided by 2. -3, add 3, 6 equals b. Okay, so the slope of my perpendicular line is going to be y equals -3/2 x plus 6. Okay. Now, next, what am I going to do? Okay, so 13, 14, 15, and 16. Determine if the lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Okay. Remember, parallel lines are going to have the same slope, and perpendicular lines are going to have the negative inverse slope. The slope is the coefficient of the x when it's in y equals mx plus b format. Okay, so fortunately I didn't have to do any work here. I just see that it's a 3 and a -3. Well, let's start out with this first 3. 3/1 is this slope. And if I wanted to take the negative inverse of this, it would be -1/3. So they are not perpendicular. And they are not parallel because if they were parallel, they would be the exact same thing. So I'm going to write neither. Okay. Next, I'm going to look at question 14. 14 is a little bit trickier because they're not already in y equals mx plus b format, but I can go ahead and do that. So let me subtract 2x, subtract 2x, I'll get okay, here I want to subtract 4x, I'll get 6y equals negative 4x minus 48, and then I'll divide by 6, divide by 6, divide by 6, and I'll get y equals negative 4 over 6 minus 8. Okay, so are these lines parallel, perpendicular, or neither? These are parallel lines. If you see, I have negative 2/3 and negative 4/6. So when you simplify 4/6 completely, you will actually get negative 2/3. So these are parallel lines. Okay, let's look at our next set of equations. Okay, we're going to subtract the 6x across. Divide by negative 12. Y. A negative divided by a negative is a positive, and 6 over 12 is the same thing as 1/2 x. 24 divided by 12 is 2. So that's this equation. So this is y equals 1/2 x plus 2. And in this equation, it's 3y equals 2x plus 18. So for this one, we have to divide the 3 across. And so if I do that, divide by 3, divide by 3, divide by 3, I'll get y equals 2/3 x plus 6. Okay, so these are clearly different slopes, no relation. This is neither. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go to, I wanted to erase that. Okay. And our final set of equations. Okay, so again, we're getting the first one into y equals mx plus b formats. Thankfully, the second one is already there. So I have 4x plus 2y equals 10. I want to move my 4x. I'm going to subtract 4x by both sides. And I will get 2y equals negative 4x plus 10. Then I will divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2, and I will get y equals 4 divided by 2 is 2. and negative divided by a positive is a negative. So it's going to be negative 2x plus 5. Okay. So negative 2 is the same thing as negative 2 over 1. The negative inverse of that would be a positive 1/2, which I have here. So therefore, these are going to be perpendicular lines. Okay, 17 and 18 I didn't include on your study guide because they are not on your test. Okay, so what we're really focused on is what is the distance from your friend's house to the school. You will need to know how to apply the distance formula, and you'll want to make sure that the distance formula is on your study guide, or not on your study guide, your reference page for the Chapter 3 test. Your friend's house, if we look at the diagram, so it's the distance from your friend's house to the school. So I see that friend's house is at 5, 0, and school is at 7, 7. The distance formula is distance equals the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. And so what I want to do is I want to take the 2 points and I want to assign them the x1, y1 and the x2, y2. So this will be my x1, y1, and this will be my x2, y2. Okay? So I'm going to rewrite this out, putting in my actual numbers. x2 is 7, x1 is 5, y2 is 7, y1 is 0, seven take away 5 is 2, 7 take away 0 is 7, two squared is 2 times 2, which is 4. 7 squared is 7 times 7, which is 49. 49 plus 4 is 53. So your answer is distance equals the square root of 53. Okay, I'm just highlighting the pair of parallel planes. That's what I want you to focus on for the test. So the planes are basically would be like the top of the box and the bottom of the box. So parallel planes, an example for you would be plane RSP and plane KLM. Okay. What do you know about the slopes of parallel lines? They're going to be the same. What do you know about the slopes of perpendicular lines? They're going to be negative, inverse. Okay, so 1/2 or -2, those would be perpendicular lines. This would be like 3, 3. What do you know about the distance from the point to a line? So if you have a point and you're trying to get to a line, you always want to take the shortest path. Okay, let's write a 2-column proof. L is parallel to M, and 1 is congruent to 7. So the first thing I do is I write statement and reasons, okay? L is parallel L is parallel to M, and angle 1 is congruent to angle 7. That is our given. Okay. Our next step is we're going to say angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. Okay. Angle 1 and angle 3 are congruent. This is because of the corresponding angles theorem. Okay, angle 3 is congruent to angle 7. Okay, so we saw 1 to 7 and then 1 to 3. And now we're saying 3 to 7. Sorry. Now we're saying 3 to 7, okay? What you can see is that we eliminated the 1 here. And whenever we do that, you're going to have to memorize that that's the transitive property, okay? And then finally, we're going to state that A is parallel to B, which is corresponding angles converse. And if we go back, you can see that 3 is here and 7 is here. These are corresponding angles. Whenever you have 2 corresponding angles, you have 2 parallel lines. Given A is parallel to B and angle 5 is supplementary to angle 2. So again, I'm just going to write an S for statements and an R for reasons. My statement, I'm going to copy down my given information, which is A is parallel to B and angle 5 is supplementary to angle 2. Let's give it. Now I'm going to say that so it's saying that angle 5 is supplementary to angle 2. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a statement. The measure of angle 5 plus the measure of angle 2 equals 180 degrees. And why would I say that? Because it is the definition of supplementary angles. Okay, then I'm going to say that angle 1 is congruent to angle 5. Here's angle 1, angle 5. This is because of the corresponding angles theorem. Okay. the measure of angle 1 is equal to the measure this is definition of congruent segments. Measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 equals 180 degrees. This is the transitive property. Angle 1 is a supplement of angle 2, which is definition of supplementary angles. And then L is parallel to M, same side, interior, angles, converse theorem. Okay, I hope this video was helpful to you, and I hope that you watch it before our test on Friday.